Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so the digital ecosystem we're looking at for 2026, it's moving incredibly fast. Honestly, it's kind of mind-blowing. Today, we're unpacking this rapidly evolving landscape of artificial intelligence. We're going to explore everything from how autonomous agents are fundamentally changing the way we shop and interact online, right down to the very real vulnerabilities these systems are introducing into our social fabric. It's a fascinating, high-stakes shift, and I'm genuinely super excited to dive in and see exactly how all these puzzle pieces fit together. Let's get into it.
Now, you might be wondering, and this is a brilliant question posed by analysts at McKinsey, who exactly is the AI shopper and where's this all headed? Think about it for a second. For literally the entire history of modern retail, the consumer has always been a human being, right? But what happens when we shift from human consumers to algorithmic consumers? We're entering an era where AI agents are acting on our behalf, filtering our choices, and in some cases, even making purchases for us. To understand where this is going, we first need to look at the mechanics driving this entirely new reality.
Because in the high-stakes, data-driven reality of modern digital marketing, going viral is no longer about human intuition or a lucky guess. There's this bold quote from Engage Now that absolutely nails it. They say, "Stop guessing what works. Let the data decide." Engineering virality is about volume, testing, and iteration, tasks perfectly suited for AI. Engineering virality. Just let that sink in for a moment. Virality is basically being treated as a math equation now, and AI agents are the ones solving it. They can test thousands of variables and iterate at a speed no human marketing team could ever possibly match.
So what do we even call this? Well, researchers refer to it as agentic commerce, and it's a completely crucial term to understand. As defined by the International Journal for Multidisciplinary Research, this isn't just about sticking a basic chatbot on a website to answer FAQs. No, this is a fundamental shift. AI agents are now acting as autonomous participants. They're actively shaping desirability, building trust, and driving user engagement. They aren't just passive tools anymore. They are literally the active engines running the digital economy.
All right, so that brings us to Section 1. Welcome to agentic commerce.
So, what's the invisible engine running this whole era under the hood? It's predictive analytics. Our sources outline how these systems exploit massive amounts of historical and transactional data. But here's the crazy part. They don't just look at past purchases, they actually generate a highly precise probability score for every single individual. You get a score, I get a score. Every customer or user gets one. This is exactly how massive organizations are quietly influencing decisions at a scale that's almost hard to wrap your head around, turning vast oceans of raw data into actionable foresight.
Moving on to Section 2, redefining digital engagement.
How does this engagement actually work on a human level? Well, researchers break engagement down into three distinct buckets. First, you have behavioral engagement. These are the measurable things, the clicks, views, shares, and purchases. Then you have emotional engagement. That's the excitement, the trust, the feeling of brand attachment. And finally, cognitive engagement, the actual mental heavy lifting like attention and decision-making. And here is the secret sauce. True, lasting engagement requires hitting all three of these simultaneously. If an AI just gets you to click on something, a behavioral action, but doesn't connect emotionally or cognitively, it's just a shallow interaction. It won't lead to real loyalty.
So how do these AI agents actually hit all three buckets? They use something called the engagement loop. It's a continuous, self-optimizing cycle. Step 1, the predictive models analyze your behavior. Step 2, the algorithms use that data to deliver incredibly personalized content right to your screen. In Step 3, the systems optimize themselves on the fly based on your real-time feedback. It's this constant spinning loop designed entirely to keep you endlessly engaged.
Okay, let's jump into Section 3, choosing your AI athlete.
Now I want to take a look under the hood at the large language models actually running these complex loops. I love this analogy from the Aegis AI blog. They call it the athlete analogy. People are always asking, hey, what's the best AI model out there right now? But honestly, that's completely the wrong question. It's like asking, who is the best athlete? A marathon runner and a heavyweight boxer are both incredible, but they are playing very different games. The question you really should be asking is, which model fits your specific game plan? You are basically drafting a sports team based on what you actually need to get done.
If you look at this head-to-head comparison of the big three, you can really see the distinct trade-offs. The trick is to compare their responses and tell which is more related to your actual goals. If you need coding, GPT-5 is just the absolute gold standard. But what if you're feeding it massive book-length documents? Well, Gemini 2.5 Pro has a staggering 1 million token context window.
And if you need safety and alignment, like you absolutely cannot afford the model to go off the rails, Claude Opus 4 is the undisputed industry leader. It's all about weighing these options against your game plan.
And just check out this number, 110. That is the tokens per second processing speed of Gemini 2.5 Pro. It is blazingly fast. To put that into perspective, at 110 tokens a second, an AI chat feels basically instantaneous to a human, even while the system is quietly processing mountains of data in the background. It's speed like this that makes real-time, autonomous agentic commerce even possible.
So, let's play a quick game of matchmaking to see how this athlete analogy plays out in the real world. Question number 1. Is absolute safety and accuracy critical for your project? If your answer is yes, like let's say you're working in high-stakes fields like legal or medical, you absolutely have to draft Claude Opus 4. Its constitutional AI approach gives you a super reliable anchor with the lowest hallucination rate out there. On the flip side, what if you're dealing with everyday budget-sensitive tasks? Like maybe you just need to process millions of customer support tickets in the background. For that, you draft a utility player like DeepSeek V4. You see, you're basically drafting between an enterprise-grade safety need versus a high-volume budget need.
All right, here's our second matchmaking question. Are you coding complex applications that are going to drive this digital ecosystem?
If the answer is yes, then you draft GPT-5. The team over at Aegis AI literally calls this your franchise player. When you need unparalleled versatility and you need a model that can reliably generate, debug, and clearly explain highly complex code structures, GPT-5 is absolutely the athlete you want out on the field.
Now let's move to Section 4, social media poisoning attacks. We have to talk about the darker side of this ecosystem because these incredibly powerful loops and models come with some serious vulnerabilities. According to recent multi-agent simulations, there is a massive threat out there right now called a poisoning attack. Because trending topics explode so fast and gather in centralized hubs, they are incredibly easy to manipulate. Bad actors are using AI agents to inject completely distorted information straight into the comments of trending topics. And their goal? It's to manufacture artificial outrage, spark conflicts, and ultimately just destroy social trust.
Take a look at this chart from the TrendSim research. It perfectly illustrates the real-world impact of this. See that red line across the top? That represents the baseline emotional state of users in a normal, healthy environment. But those lines just plunging straight downward, those represent different intensities of poisoning attacks. You are literally looking at a simulation of emotion decay. It brilliantly and kind of terrifyingly shows how toxic algorithmic manipulation severely drags down the psychological and emotional well-being of users in a very short amount of time.
Which brings us to our final stop today, Section 5, where AI still fails.
Because despite all the hype, there are still some very real, critical limitations. The Center for AI Safety calls this the oversight dilemma. Basically, as we unleash all these autonomous AI agents to do highly complex work, like coding, designing, and engaging consumers, human oversight quickly becomes a massive bottleneck. We just can't keep up. So what's the industry doing? They are increasingly relying on automated AI judges to evaluate the work of other AIs. Yes, we are quite literally using AI to grade AI.
But the Center for AI Safety has this quote that hits the nail completely on the head. They note, evaluating an RLI deliverable is itself a demanding, agentic task, so an AI judge inherits the same limitations as the AI workers it grades. What this means is that these autonomous oversight systems we are desperately trying to build are, at least right now, fundamentally flawed.
And the reason why is actually pretty simple: missing skills. Properly judging complex digital work often requires real-world physical computer use skills. Think about it. If an AI generates a fake 3D rendering, an AI judge cannot reliably spot the fake just by staring at a flat 2D image. To actually evaluate it, the judge would literally have to open up the project files in a professional 3D software program, navigate the interface, and inspect the complex geometry itself. And those specific agentic computer use skills are exactly what today's AI still lacks. It just cannot act as a reliable judge for its own complex outputs yet.
So, that leaves us with this final, provocative thought to wrap up our explainer today. If AI agents are the ones driving our commerce, writing our complex code, and manipulating our social engagement loops, but the AI cannot yet reliably oversee or judge itself, who is ultimately responsible for the autonomous ecosystem of 2026? It's a huge question and one that demands an answer as we draft our AI athletes and build out this wild new world. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will see you next time.